Hi, Aaron the Thinker here. Just want to make this video to talk about World of Warcraft PvP because I've been playing that game since patch 2.2 or 2.3, around season 1 arena, and I mainly PvP. Well, these days I only PvP. So I want to talk about. First, I'll just kind of say, yeah, like what makes it good, why we like it, why I like it, and then what I think is bad about it, and maybe some ways to improve it. I encourage. I'd love to hear some video responses. If anyone agrees or disagrees, that'd be cool, and I could respond back to yours. These little videos don't take that long to upload or anything. So, I already recorded this and it was super long, so I had to do it again and make some point form. Now, what's fun about WoW PvP is, you know, Blizzard designs great games, and the movement, the gameplay of the characters is great, right? You have excellent control over your character, you know, good action, reaction, and the movement feels fluid. You have a vast array of abilities for all your characters, and PvP is very competitive, which may or may not be a part of that fun equation, but for many it is. So, you know, so there's a lot of depth because of the cooldowns on skills, and the nature of the different abilities, offensive, defensive, mobility, heals, damage, different types of damage, and things like that. Crowd control as well. Now, so that's what makes it fun: the depth of play, the good gameplay and control. Now, what I think makes it bad. Okay, and I also just want to say, I've played every class at max level, just about every spec, except for Shaman. That's the only class I haven't played max level. Be it at, you know, at 70 during TBC, 80 during Wrath, or 85 now. And I've played pretty much every spec on the classes I have had at max level. Okay, so now some of the big down flaws, I think, of World of Warcraft PvP are. I'll just kind of go through my list, try to keep this quick here. Gear. Okay, I think gear item levels scale too fast per tier of gear. It creates gear gaps that are too big, and it makes gear too big of a part of the equation of power on a character and the outcomes of battles. Now, I just believe that that's not fun. That's not a fun aspect of the game, of PvP. To lose because the person outgears you, like even if you're equal level or near the same level, you should have a fair chance. But if that person outgears you to any extent, or to a large extent, of course, then you have like no chance of winning. The bigger the outgearing, the less chance of winning, regardless of skill levels. And that's just not fun. It's not fun. I'd love to hear why you think that's fun. Okay, but it isn't. And if you're a superior player, then having more similar gear levels is still going to be fun. You're still going to win, you know. And if you have better gear, it'll still be better, just not to such a degree where people might feel more hopeless, you know, or just have no chance, or clearly just lose because of gear. It's just not fun. Now, second is healers, which is very kind of a close argument on this sort of, is that it's also not fun to lose, whether it be, well, it would be a group battle, because you're not really going to lose one-on-one against a healer if you're a DPS. Although that does happen. It happens lots of times, actually. But mostly during low levels, less often during the max levels. Although it even can, if you're like an 85 healer, you can still kill a DPS who's 85 if they're way under geared. So once again, there's the gear thing, that's humiliating. That's just humiliating. That's not fun, right? You have no chance. There's no chance you can win against a geared healer if you're an under geared DPS. Not only can he survive you easily, but he can kill you too. But in group battles, okay, healers I just believe are imbalanced. They're made, it's a PvE thing, and they're made to heal a lot of damage, and they're created to have a lot of mana regen. So the way it is right now, and the way it's been throughout most of WoW, especially as the tiers progress during an expansion, so the gear just gets crazy, and the amount of ratings, crit and haste and mana regen that the healers get is just ridiculous. Where, like right now on live, healers on a 1v1 basis or 2v2s, they don't run out of mana. They like never run out of mana. Okay? No, sure, in the right circumstance they can run low and maybe even out, but that seems to be pretty rare in my book, and it takes a long time. But more often than not, I see infinite or near infinite mana from healers, which I think is ridiculous. That's not balanced. A healer shouldn't have infinite mana. No other caster does, and healers shouldn't either. Okay, they're powerful enough as it is. Why should they be able to sway the flow of battle forever? Because they never run out of mana? That's just stupid. It's imbalanced. It's not fun. Now, that's just the mana, which I have an idea for that. I think mana regen should be based on static amounts of mana, not percentage based of their total mana or base mana, because the percentages just scale too much. So as they get more and more gear, suddenly their mana is infinite regen, and they don't run out. So if regen scaled on static amounts, like 2,500 mana, instead of like some percentage that's just scales too much, then even as you get more gear, and you pop Divine Plea or whatever ability you have, it's gonna give you a set amount of mana back. So when you gear up, you're not gonna get just like these crazy amounts of mana. You're still gonna get that bit of mana back, which should be fine, right? Because you're getting more gear, you are getting more regen, you are getting a larger mana pool and things like that. And then the gameplay of a smart healer, a skilled and smart healer to another one who is careless with mana or just doesn't know any better, that should be the biggest gameplay element of being a healer, I believe, is managing mana, which Blizzard stated was their goal for this expansion. And they have flopped miserably. Okay, maybe not in PvE, but this is PvP discussion. For all intents and purposes, I don't care about PvE. So, so make a scale based on static amounts, okay? Deal with it. So that means you actually run out of mana after like a few minutes of combat or 5 minutes or whatever, like every other caster, okay? And then if it was like that, I suppose maybe you could keep the powerful amount of healing you can do, because then at least it's limited to a duration of time. And when you actually run out of mana, you actually run out of mana, as opposed to somehow being able to just keep people alive with like an empty mana pool, because it just regens so fast. You're able to just keep people up. Or if you're a holy paladin, you can just heal with Word of Glory or whatever without even using mana. Okay. And then there's just the power of the heals. Okay, I think they're too powerful. I think one healer should not equal 2 DPS, and that's on like an ideal best scenario of equally geared, skilled players. At best, one healer is 2 DPS. That's not balanced. 1 equals 2. It should be 1 to 1, right? How can anyone not see that? And if it's not ideal circumstance, one healer can equal 3, 4, and as we've all seen, even 5 DPS that can't kill a healer because they're kiting, they're running away, they're healing, and the DPS aren't coordinated or whatever reasons. But that just shouldn't happen. That should not be possible, right? Like, that's not fun. It's ridiculous. So, reduce the healing in PvP. If that's by like mortal strikes and, things like that, which would be fine, but then every DPS class and spec needs to have it, I believe. If it was that route. Or putting like just some sort of game-wide change, like PvP healing, is reduced by 30% or something like that. And not just in battlegrounds and arenas, but all PvP. So when you heal another player outside of a raid or whatever, outside of a dungeon or a raid, there you go. Then it's reduced by 30%, something like that. And things like 10% is just laughable. The moral strike now is just it's a joke. It's dumb. So that's the healing. Okay. It's not fun to lose because of a team having a healer or a better geared healer or whatever. Oh, okay, one more point on this. I have such a hard time keeping videos short. I'm a talker. I'm Aaron the Thinker, alright? Now, you guys have seen, right? Having battlegrounds or group battles where the teams are unkillable. And not just the enemy team, but both teams. Let's say it's the Warsaw Gulch, and this is just an example, alright? Let's say we have 4 healers and you guys have 4 healers. Or 5, whatever. And no one's killing anyone. Nobody's dying on either team. Because there's just so much healers that never run out of mana. Nobody can even win. No one. Now, is that fun? The people who love the healers and blah 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 and would disagree with me. Is that fun? That's retarded. It's boring as heck, okay? It's boring, it's stupid. It should not happen. It's not fun. So, that's just like the opposite side of it, okay? No one can win. And having like arena matches that last like an hour. Why? Because of the healers. That's why. Is that fun? No, that's not fun either. Okay? It's stupid. Yeah, I win. I'm right. Now anyway, do I have another point? Okay, I think PvP in any game, well, maybe I can't say any game, but in an MMO, an RPG type game, in WoW, should be balanced on a 1 versus 1 basis. Okay? Now I know this is a big thing people say lately. You can put out all kinds of arguments, and then someone will just be like, healing's not balanced on 1v1. GG, and they're like trolling you or whatever. Come on. Just because Blizzard has stated that they're not doing it on a 1v1 basis doesn't mean that it's not a good idea. I believe 1v1 is the only way to truly balance PvP in an RPG game, in WoW, and a similar type of game. It's the only way to truly balance it. You balance it based on groups, then you're always going to have, you're catering to people making certain comps, right? Certain compositions of teams that are going to have advantages over other certain comps. That's always going to happen if you balance based on teams. So there'll always be a rock paper scissors team effect and certain comps that are better and yada yada yada. But if you balance on 1v1, really do it and do it right, it's not impossible, then I think that sort of thing will either, well, it'll probably still exist to some degree, but much lessened. And you want it to be lessened. You don't want it to be comp specific. You want to take the player, right, Blizzard, not the class, okay? Take the player. And I believe that's true. Now that's fun. You should be able to play whatever spec and class you want and be viable and be able to do it and perform and not have constantly people judging you and telling you you suck or that it's just a bad spec or that even in actuality that it is bad. It shouldn't be that way. So balance it 1v1, okay? Do it. It's not that hard, I don't think. Hire me, I could do it. But so that's a big one. Now, okay, I think movement speed in the game needs to be reduced. All the characters' base movement speeds from 100% to I think about maybe 70% of current run speed. Because I think ranged doesn't mean much in the game right now. It never really has, but probably you know, less and less after like about Wrath, you know, maybe TPC Wrath. Range just means nothing because of all the melee having mobility, instant mobility gap closers on short cooldowns. Range means like nothing, you know. Now this, I'm not gonna say that that's like unbalanced or whatever, blah blah blah. But I just find that that's just doesn't sit well with me, you know. If I'm a mage and I walk up and I see a warrior 40 yards away and I'm like, yeah, I should have a nice little good opener on the battle here, you know, get a nice fireball off or something. But nope, as soon as that warrior sees you, and of course as soon as you cast on him, thanks Blizzard, he gets to target you immediately, so he knows. But he's going to be able to run that 10 yards, you know, until he can charge you in a split second, and he'll be on top of you before you can even finish a fireball. You won't even be able to. You know, maybe you won't even get a scorch off, because that's how quick that 40 yards is closed. That sucks. That's stupid. You know, why am I ranged in the first place? I wish it mean more. You know, I just think it'd be cool. It'd be more fun to have range be more meaningful. And now another point about this sort of, but a little different, is I think snares. I think snare durations, the effect duration, needs to be cut by about 50 or 60%. So instead of 8 seconds maximum duration, down to about 4 or 3 seconds. Okay? So that when someone gets away, they should be able to actually get away and not have 8 seconds for you to just walk up back to them and catch them again, which is how it is now. Like, that's stupid. Okay? If I'm a rogue and I jump on a mage and I get crippling poison on him, he blinks away, he should be able to kind of get away and keep that distance if he keeps running. But no, he's snared, so I just get to run up and catch him because he's snared for like 8 seconds. Now, okay, now that's just an example. I know a mage can root the rogue and blah 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 blah, but it's an example talking about movement speed here and snares. So I think about 4 or 3 second snares should be maximum, okay? And that's it. And I also think maybe the effectiveness of snares should be reduced a little bit. Instead of like 50% snare, maybe 40%. You know, just a small reduction in effectiveness. And then, you know, like crippling poison, instead of 70% could be 50%. So it's a little bit better, but not much. But it would still be noticeable. So I think that would be a nice improvement to WoW PvP. Anyway, so that's what I think. There's also a couple other things, but this isn't really like balance issues. Maybe I should make a separate video where I want to talk about World PvP. I guess I'll make a separate video for that. Anyways, please, if you watch this and you have something to say, I would love it to have a video response. It'd be really cool. I will respond to you, as long as it's not like trolling, or, you know, if you're intelligent and a respectful and decent person, I will respond. So I look forward to that, and hearing your opinions on this. So, Aaron out.